Hey everybody, today I'm filming this really glittery neutral colored smoky eye and also talking about some techniques for a more long-lasting base with foundation, and also some layering effects of using both cream and powder products when it comes to contour, blush, and highlighter. So I'll go ahead and get right into it. One more thing before I go. The two products that I'm mainly focusing on in this video are this Fenty Beauty product and this ColourPop product. So I'm really excited to show you guys my thoughts on these, and I will go ahead and show you this look. Okay, as usual, I'm gonna start by pinning my hair back with these cute claw clips that I love. Sometime I should just wear my hair like this because I think it's so cute. I should get little butterfly clips actually. Okay, so as you can tell, my skin is very like oily looking, and this is me trying something new because of a makeup video I watched yesterday by Alexandra Anel, who's one of my favorite makeup YouTubers, possibly my absolute favorite makeup YouTuber. But she said the secret to a flawless base foundation finish, there are a couple tricks that she used, but one of them is just to be very moisturized. So I used vitamin C oil by Common Air, which was a gift from my friend Mac Shan, shout out to Shan. And I also used the Supergoop Sheer 30 SPF sunscreen that I usually use. You can't really tell because it's had a while to set in, but when I just wear the sunscreen on its own, it kind of has a white cast, which I don't really like. So I might not be buying that one again, but otherwise I know it's a really good brand and a lot of people have positive things to say. For primer, I'm gonna go in with my e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I'm actually gonna use a couple different kinds of primer today, but this is the one I'm gonna use for my overall face primer. And I am going to use this everywhere. And then for focused areas on my skin, I'm going to use the Benefit Professional Primer, just the regular one, not the light one that I've gotten recently, because this is a very like dewy look because it's a gel, which I hope will complement the look that I'm going for overall. But because I do tend to get oily in my T-zone, I went to use a more mattifying pore filling primer for those areas. And so hopefully doubling up primer actually does something. I'm not sure if it does. But I have, the only one I have with me right now of the Professional is the little travel size. So I'm just gonna use that. I'm gonna put some on the back of my hand as usual. Oh, a little more than I needed, but it's okay. And then put this in the oily areas, focusing on my nose and going out from there. And you can already see this is kind of like a blurring effect. Not sure how well it'll show up on camera. I did use a closer zoom today, so hopefully the makeup actually shows up better, or more clearly, I guess I should say, on my skin. Again, not sure how much it'll do to pile up primers, but I thought I'd give it a go. The other thing I'm gonna do is use my Smashbox primer water, which is getting really low, and I think they discontinued this. So that's a bummer, but I'm gonna go ahead and use it all over. And one thing I've heard of doing that I'm not gonna do is use a powder before cream products, which to me seems very backwards. I'm not really gonna try to mess with it, but maybe I'll do a video at some point where I do that. So for my base, I'm gonna use the Lancome Tinted All Ultra Wear, which is a, I believe it's a full coverage foundation. It's up to 24-hour color wear and comfort transfer resistant, and it has SPF 15 in it. So I'm gonna do a pretty small amount, just one pump, and I'm gonna mix it because again, this is a darker shade than what I wear. Like I have been for my past videos, I'm gonna mix it with my Fenty Easy Drop Blurring Skin Tint in the shade 7. So you can see I'm just mixing the two of them together right there, and hopefully it approximates my ordinary or my current skin tone. So as usual, I'm just dotting this around. Alexandra had in the video that I saw some really good tips for covering up problem spots. I don't really get zits, so I didn't try her technique, and I actually don't use concealer, and that was a big thing that she used, but she had some really good techniques and some recommendations for concealers that are very hydrating and don't crease. So I might go try one of those concealers, although all the concealers that I've tried still crease on me. I don't know why. And another thing is that underneath my eyes, I don't really have dry skin, but underneath my eyes right here, I do have some dryness, and that leads to cracks in my concealer no matter what the concealer is. I've tried the like Tarte ones with maracuja oil, the Tarte Shape Tape that was big for years and that I'm sure some people still use, is way too thick a formula for me. And even the like hydrating ones, I got a really good one from Hourglass that's supposed to be a pretty thin wear formula. And all the ones from e.l.f. that people really like, I've tried, and they just don't work for me. So I went in with my Morphe M439 brush as usual, but I actually forgot that I was gonna use a beauty blender today, because I think beauty blenders give such a nice finish, and the only reason I don't use them more often is because I don't like leaving them dirty, and so I clean them after every use, and it's just a little bit of a hassle to clean after every use, but I want to use one today. So I'm using my Real Techniques orange beauty blender, and I'm just going to go into the rest of the product on my hand, which isn't a lot, and I'm just going to pat that into my skin. And I do like using brushes just for the convenience, and I really like the Morphe brush that I've been using, but there's just nothing like the finish of a beauty blender to me. I just really like it. So I'm using the beauty blender. Who calls it that? Is it Patrick Star? I think it is. But I'm using my beauty blender for the rest of this. Now to apply my cream products. I am gonna go in first with the package is really dirty, with my Nudies All Over Face color in the shade Bondi Bay. It's pronounced Bondi. And I keep saying Bondi every time, but I'm gonna use that as my contour shade up here around and over here on the sides of my nose. And I'm gonna go in with a powder product after every cream product is on. So I'm gonna use the other side of my beauty blender here to just blend in the contour. So I'm gonna be using cream contour, cream blush, cream highlighter, and then go in with the setting powder and then apply powder, blush, highlighter, and powder contour. So hopefully that'll kind of just set everything in place. And one thing Alex Anel mentioned in her video that I should give as a disclaimer here is that for these cream products, you're just kind of setting the tone. So if it doesn't look as like pronounced or strong as you would ordinarily like, that's okay, because you're gonna go in with powder products to accentuate everything later. So this is a really light contour. I can't honestly even see anything with these bright lights, but hopefully you guys can see something. And then I'm gonna use my Rare Beauty Nearly Apricot Cream Blush. I've mentioned before, this one is almost out, and so I'll be switching over to my Fenty Balm blush after this. But I'm just gonna tap it in my usual place right here. And I gotta say, I really like the dewiness that I'm seeing on my skin. I really like it. So I'm gonna apply kind of a lot of blush because I am gonna be setting this with a powder over, and it's gonna lose some of the pigmentation. For my cream highlighter, I'm gonna use the Anastasia Beverly Hills highlighter stick. I don't know what shade this is. Oh, stick highlighter in the shade Iced Out. Super pretty. I tend to like highlighters that have a little bit of like a warmer tone to them because I do have a warm skin tone. And I'm going to blend it also with my beauty blender. Oh, I didn't even put any on my chin. And I don't really love this stick highlighter, to be honest. I think it makes my skin look really textured. But I do like the color, and hopefully it doesn't look too cakey when I put some setting powder over it. One thing I forgot to do that I'll do before I set just now is use my Morphe eyelid primer. I haven't used this in a little bit. The package is like pretty dirty because it just stays in a bag with all my other products. So this is the Morphe eyelid primer, and I'm gonna use that a little bit on my eyelids because I am, oh my gosh, I didn't shake it up properly. It went into my eye. That's too funny. Okay, I guess I gotta shake up the product because it's been a while since I used it. So I will put some on my hand first to see how it goes. There we go. And now I'm gonna put a little bit of primer on my eyelids and just blend it out with my beauty blender. I'm also gonna use a glitter primer later, but I want to have this down just for the matte pressed powders that I'm gonna be using. Because I can't remember if I mentioned, but I want this makeup to stay all day because it's morning time right now and I have like 3 events I'm going to throughout the day, and I might be up or wearing this makeup for the next like 14 hours. So I am using all the primers, all the setting products that I can. For the setting powder, I'm using the Revlon Candid Photo Ready in the shade 001. And I don't use a lot of setting powder, so this product was like popular a while back, and I don't really know if other people still use it. So if you are watching, hit me up and let me know your favorite setting powder. And I'm just using the pointed powder brush from e.l.f. and I'll also set my eyelids. One thing that Alexandra in her video did was use like really small brushes so that she could kind of tailor her product to the specific area of the face that she was trying to apply to. And she could like build up the product a little bit more in problem areas. Sometime I might try to do a video where I try specifically to cover up my scar here. It used to really bother me and hasn't as much lately, and so I haven't really bothered to do any sort of like, or to try any sort of cover up for it. Okay, I'm gonna pause here and do a setting spray before going in with more powder product. For this setting spray, I'm gonna use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dewy Set and just go all over and let that dry a little bit. One thing Alexandra said in her Flawless Base video was that dewy hydrating setting primers tend to make her face look shiny. And I think that they do for me as well. I've noticed that, and recently I've been applying a powder over the setting spray, and I really like the look of that. But I think what I'm gonna try this time is using a different setting spray at the very end. So that's setting spray number 1. Now, going into more powder products, I'm gonna use the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. This was really old before the brand became KVD. And I'm using this little paddle brush, and I'm focusing the product in the hollows of my cheek. If you kind of make this face, the hollows of your cheek is where your contour should go. And I'm just gonna blend it out upwards. And again, you can use smaller brushes to kind of achieve a more precise effect, but I'm in a little bit of a hurry today and I'm just using my go-to brushes rather than trying something new. Especially for nose contour, I would recommend using a thinner brush. This is just really imprecise, and I'm also almost using it as like a bronzer up here. I'm going with a little bit of a warmer tone up here on the edges of my face, and then contour under my chin, which I almost never do because I don't like the thought of it getting my clothes dirty. For powder blush, I'm just gonna use the e.l.f. duo that I've been using. That's a cheeky glow. I don't even know what shade it is. And I'm gonna go back with the Sigma 103 brush, or I'm sorry, Firma. I don't know why I said Sigma. And just pat that in. I do have like purple blushes that I've wanted to use more lately, but because I'm going for neutrals today, I wanted to use something a little bit more like natural that won't kind of draw the focus away from my eyes. The product I am most excited about to use today is this Fenty Beauty, what is it called? Diamond Balm All Over Diamond Veil. Super fine 3D sparkle for face and body, insane diamond dusted effect. It is so pretty. I saw it in the store and I was like, $42, that's too much. But then I swatched it and it was just so beautiful. And the packaging, as always, is just like to die for. Hopefully you're not blinded by the ring light reflection right here, but it is like gorgeous. I think it is so pretty. And I'm gonna use this as my highlighter. So I'm just gonna use this e.l.f. brush. I've had it for so long, it's like the description has rubbed off. And I'm just gonna do this right up here. I am not going to worry about like it looking super overdone because this isn't really an everyday look I'm filming. This is like a costumey almost look. So later today, I'm even gonna go in with this again and use it like kind of all over. But I don't know if you guys remember, like a few years ago, the term strobing for makeup was used. And it was this concept of just like having your face super duper highlighted, like almost wet looking, very metallic, very glowy. And that's what I wanna do today. So again, not an everyday look. My face probably looks like very shiny right now, but it's what I'm going for this look. All right, the next product I'm gonna use is the ColourPop of Quartz Pressed Powder Palette. And it's a neutral palette. I think it came out about a year ago, but I've never tried it. So I wanna use it. And the colors are super pretty. Just a lot of really neutral shades that I don't really have in cool tones, because when I go for neutrals, I always go for warm tones because I think that suits my face better. And what I'm gonna do today is try to use these cooler neutral tones for a smoky eye look. And gosh, like I don't know how it's gonna turn out because I don't usually like grays and dark like neutrals on me. But I'm gonna go in with this middle top shade called Sio. I'm sure it's named after some sort of like crystal and I don't know what it is. So I'm gonna use this sort of all over my lid, but with a heavier emphasis on the outer corner of the eye as usual. I just really like that for my eye shape. And I'm gonna do that just on both sides of my eye. And then for the next layer, I'm gonna use this upper left color in the zone. And just using the same brush, I'm gonna go in and pat it on my lid. I don't usually use a darker color on the lid, but I watched a video of somebody using this palette and she used it on the lid and I thought it was really pretty. Now, I'm gonna go in with this bottom left. I'm getting my right and left confused trying to like show the camera. I'm gonna go in with the color Granite Access and focus it on the outer corners. It's very similar to the one that I just put on my lid, but just a darker shade. And just going to try to blend it upwards a little bit so that there aren't harsh lines. Now for the last matte powder, I'm gonna use this darkest shade called Opaque at the bottom. And I'm gonna use this really slim angled brush and I'm gonna use this as my eyeliner. I might end up using my black liquid liner over it, but I am gonna try not to. I'm just gonna go for like a delicate smoked wing liner today, rather than my normal black wing. Still a wing, of course, but I think this complements the smoky eye look, and the YouTuber I saw who made the makeup tutorial used this technique, and I thought it was really pretty. So I'm gonna go over this a couple of times just to build up the product. Okay, now that my wings are done, that's it for the matte powders. So I'm gonna go for real shimmer today. And so I'm gonna use my NYX glitter primer and gonna put it on the center of my lid and just blend it out with a flat brush. I'm gonna use this one, which is, the brand is Rubbed Off because I've had it so long, but it was one that came in like an Ipsy set, I wanna say. So I'm just gonna kind of put that primer in the areas where I want the shimmer to shine the most. And then I'm just gonna use my fingers to kind of get the most impact. So I really like this shade right here called Transform. So I'm gonna go in with my pinky and pick up some of the product. It's so pretty. And just dot it in the center. So nice. And I'm getting it on my liner, so I'm gonna need to go over the liner later. But I think this shade is like awesome. I'm gonna save the lightest shade for my inner corner highlight. And I really like a kind of gradient effect of lighter to darker. So I'm not gonna worry about there being harsh lines in between the matte and the shimmer right now, because I'll go in with the product that's left on my eyeshadow brush and blend out with the matte product, but I'm really just layering up the shimmers right now. Now, the last shimmer shade I'm gonna use is gonna be the topmost left Mind Games. And I'm gonna put it back on my pinky here, super shimmery, and just gonna inner corner it. Wow, that is bright. Oh, it's so pretty. And I know most people put some sort of shadow on their lower lid, and I've tried it a million times and I just don't like how it looks on my face. So I am going to leave the shadows. Okay, two more things. I said I'll leave the shadow at that. That is true as far as this palette goes, but there are two other things I wanna try. One of them is this ColourPop Jelly Much Gel Eyeshadow. It's really pretty and it's in the shade Super Cool, which has, I think it says like turquoise undertones, but it's mostly just like a silvery color. So this is what the packaging looks like. And then when you open it up, there's like a little plastic thing that I'm trying to peel off right now. Oh boy. Okay. Wow, it's very mousse-like texture and it just got all over my finger, but this is what it looks like. It looks, again, very messy, but it's, yeah, it's definitely a gel, and this is what it looks like on my finger. So I'm gonna pat it in the center. I kind of wanted the like bluish color that it adds, and wow, I'm a fan. It looks like it kind of negates the effect of the really pretty like taupey shimmer that I put on there. So I still think it was worthwhile to put it on there because I believe you can see some of the shade peeking through, but it's definitely not necessary to do both. Like I wouldn't say that you really need to worry about like doing both if you're doing this look. I'm so glad I got this jelly color, or this color in the jelly shadow. Swatched on my hand, it looks like this. Super pretty. And now because I'm doing a really like stroby glittery effect, I'm gonna go in with one more eyeshadow glitter. and it's this NYX glitter. It's a loose face and body glitter, and it's in the shade Crystal. The last time I used this loose glitter, I did the same technique, which is using this empty palette that used to be a pressed powder palette before I used it up. And I cleaned it out, and now I'm using it as a blank, like, creative space for loose glitters. So I just pat a little bit of the loose glitter on there, because loose glitters to me pretty hard to work with. So I just pat a little bit on the bottom of the pan and go in with any flat brush. Today I'm gonna use the same one I used for my primer because it's very small and has a lot of control. And I'm gonna pat this glitter on. I didn't use quite enough, but there we go. And glitter on top of shimmers, again, like, not necessary, but because this is like a theme night and because I'm going for a pretty dramatic effect, I wanted to use this loose glitter. And later, when I get ready for the club, like right before the actual event, I will go in with even more glitter and really like do it up. Okay, I think that's eyeshadow and eyeliner done. And then I'm gonna go in with my Benefit Brow little pomade. I never remember what it's called, but it's been my go-to lately. It's just like so easy. It doesn't make my brows look like they're best, and I definitely made a little bit of a mess there. Right now I'm kind of trying to grow them out in preparation to get them threaded and shaped, so they look a little wonky. But you can see the difference here. Just add some filler. To me, it just kind of like balances out the smokiness and darkness that I added to my eyes. And you can tell I kind of angle the tip to draw in the kind of wing of my eyebrow a little bit more. And then I also angle the tip to kind of define the hairs closest to my nose. For my mascara, I'm using the same one I've been using, the Benefit Bad Gal Bang. I just really, really like it. The only thing is that it does tend to kind of bleed throughout the day, and I am definitely not a fan of that. But maybe the setting spray that I used today will help, and if not, it's not that big of a deal because I don't use shadows or concealer underneath my eye. So towards the end of the day, if I need to take a Q-tip with some makeup remover, oh my gosh, getting dots there. If I need to take a Q-tip with some makeup remover on it and clean the mascara from under my eyes, it's not really that big of a deal. I just, yeah, like I said, use some oil-free makeup remover, and then I usually rinse with like a little bit of water on the other end of the Q-tip, and just pat it dry. All right, that's lashes and brows done. Final couple of things is setting and lips. So I'm gonna use the little Urban Decay All-Nighter. I think I ran out of my full-size one, so I just have the travel size. But along the lines of the same YouTube video I've been referencing, she said that a dewy setting spray, like I mentioned before, makes her face look a little bit wet and oily, and so she recommends a more mattifying one, which I think the All-Nighter is compared to a lot of other setting sprays, but the mattifying Urban Decay one is even better. I just don't have that one, so I'm gonna use this. Okay, and like I mentioned before, I've been a fan of setting with powder, so I'm just gonna go in with my pointed powder brush and use the product that's just left on the brush and pat that setting spray into my skin because it does look very shiny. Right, I'm not sure how my makeup shows up on camera, but I think it looks really pretty. Last thing, I'm not really gonna do lips because you know, I just don't feel like it because what I'm going to now isn't my main event for the day, but I will put on this neutral lip oil right here. And speaking of lip oil, I got the new NYX Fat Lip Oil or whatever it's called, and it's so cute. It just doesn't go with this look, so I'm not gonna wear it today, or at least for this eye look. I'm not gonna wear it, and I will, I'll try to demo it in another video. If I could find some of my nudie brown lip colors, I would have used those, but this kind of taupe, milky looking lip oil will suffice for this video. All right, and that's the finished look. Man, my hair looks a little bit oily, but that's okay. Yeah, this is it. I really like how it turned out. Hopefully the zoom helped show the makeup a little bit better, and hopefully you guys can see the actual like dimension in the eyes and the better finish to my base than what I usually do. Super fun to film this video. Thank you to those who watched, and I'll see you next time.